Today, we're going to have a candid conversation with the Sanmina CIO about what it took to go through their digital transformation. My name is Aric Bandy. I'm the Executive Vice President at Pythian. I run our cloud operations and our corporate development teams. And joining me today is Manesh Patel. Manesh, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Aric, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Manesh Patel, Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer at Sanmina Corporation. Sanmina is a Fortune 500 manufacturing company headquartered in Silicon Valley, California. We're also based in 23 countries, over 70 factories, 45,000 employees, serving manufacturing customers, all of the name brand OEM companies that one can imagine in a variety of industries, from automotive to communications, defense and aerospace, medical, and clean energy.
Thanks, Manesh. So Pythian, we are a 24-year-old cloud company. We have a number of engineers across a number of continents. We have 8 Google Cloud specializations. We have the Google Cloud MSP. We're a 4-time Google Partner of the Year winner. We have a lot of depth around helping organizations like Sanmina make this digital transformation journey. So let's jump in. So, digital transformation is a buzzword. It's sometimes used to just describe some of the basic software deployment, but where in reality, this is truly a transformation exercise. And it really is truly a journey where it requires an organization to be very strategic, thoughtful, detailed in their planning, and most importantly, execute well in order to make this journey successful. So, Manesh, can you just describe a little bit about Sanmina's digital journey and what that was like?
Sure. Our journey started back in 2009, and this was a time before the terms digital transformation or cloud had really been created. And very early days, we transitioned all of our employees back then to Google Apps, which today is now Google Workspace. And we were one of 3 large companies in the late 2009, early 2010 timeframe that moved to Google Apps. So it was a really pioneering effort. We spent a lot of time with due diligence on just making sure everything worked as needed, tested our processes for transition and training. And it was actually a very successful move for our 17,000 employees at the time who moved over to Google Apps. And I've done a lot of large transformations in the past with ERP and manufacturing systems, and this was actually one of the smoothest ones that we had undertaken. And since then, we've continued to build out our use of Google Apps and Workspace, and we haven't looked back.
That's awesome. Now, you've also adopted GCP as part of the journey as well, correct?
Absolutely. So that was a natural transition for us to adopt more of the cloud technologies with GCP, with the integration points back to Google Workspace. And so we've continued that journey over the last 10 years. And we're excited about what we've seen, and we look forward to continuing that journey. One of the early things we saw early on was the vision of our employees being able to access their information from any device at any time from any place. And back then, that was considered to be a radical change if we think about a lot of the ways we worked back then. And over the next several years, we were able to realize that vision. And very soon, we changed that vision statement to enabling our employees to be able to work from any place at any time on any device. And today we have that. And frankly, our employees today take that for granted. It's just natural for them. So they don't see it as special. It's just normal.
As you and I have talked, I spent time out in Mountain View with Google around 2007-09 timeframe, similarly, and I know that you were very, very early in the adoption of Google Cloud. One of the things that was often a challenge, and I'd love to hear what your experience was like, was getting the leadership on board with such a significant journey. So how did you do that, and how was it to get them on board?
No, that's a great question, and we did spend a lot of time taking our management and executives through the thought process, because this was a strategic decision for us, and frankly, the legacy systems we were moving away from were not broken, and so it wasn't a case of we needed to fix something. So the journey I took our executives through was really that what we saw with Google Apps at the time was an opportunity to lower our total cost of ownership. And that's important for us. We're in a competitive, very competitive environment. So that was definitely important. We also saw an opportunity for our employees to be more productive and to be able to collaborate more across time and distance, being a global company. But the most important reason I saw and I communicated to our executives was that the path that Google was on was really a trajectory that was going to take us to a different place than where we had been. And we saw the early stages of newer technologies, newer solutions and applications that would really allow us to be transformative. And we've seen that. So today we use Google Meet on an ongoing basis. Back then, it was just an idea in somebody's head. And so that's the reality that we've seen. And we are very much in a different place today.
So you mentioned this a little bit, like TCO. I'd love to hear what some of the core business drivers that were supportive of the cloud adoption and this digital transformation journey. And I'd also love to, as like a part two for the question, I'd also love to hear how you balance that with some of the technical challenges, especially since you were so early in the process of the overall cloud adoption.
Sure. So in almost everything we do, we definitely look at the business drivers. What are the core objectives we're trying to achieve for our business? And sometimes they're strategic, like the examples I've given. Sometimes they're tactical, and we'll have a small application that we might want to transition to the cloud that has a specific value proposition for our business. And so we'll take on some strategic initiatives based on where that's helping to transform us, and then we'll take on tactical initiatives as well. So we've done both over the years, and we'll continue to do those to really fill out our digital transformation journey. But one of the things we've learned is that we've also got to take our employees with us, and that's a big challenge. Not only employees within IT, but our employees across the whole company. And we spent a lot of time in communicating and educating our employees about what we're doing, why we're doing things, and so on. And frankly, we've been getting very positive feedback. We get a lot of support, a lot of ideas, frankly, from our employees as well. On the IT side, if we think back over the last 10 plus years, how we supported legacy systems, on-premise systems, that's a very different world to what we need to do today in the cloud and in the digital world. And so we've really transformed the IT organization as well. We're still on that journey, but we've made a lot of great progress. And that's an important part of what we feel we need to do to be successful.
So you've made some pretty big bets in this digital transformation journey that you have been on for 10 years now. And some of those bets are on Google Cloud and using Pythian as a partner to help you. I'd love to understand why you made the choice for Google Cloud and continue to make that choice and continue to have us as a trusted partner to help you through that process.
Sure. So, we were very early adopters of Google's technology, and we're very excited about all of the great technologies in Google Cloud today, and we're a big adopter of some of the newer capabilities. So we We've developed a lot of the applications natively in Google Cloud, where we see real value. We've also done some lift and shift activities with moving legacy applications from on-premise to the cloud, and we'll continue to move in that direction. And one of the early projects we did with Pythion was really around our enterprise data warehouse, and that was a very strategic project for us. We were moving from a legacy on-premise environment, and as you can imagine, with enterprise data warehouses, a lot of it's about the transformation, making sure that everything's run efficiently, and access controls and all of those types of things. And Pythion was working with us step by step through that massive undertaking. And I've worked with many partners over the years, and frankly, that project by itself, I was very concerned about the prospect of success. And Pythion's focus and diligence and dedication really came through. And for a first project, I think they did extremely well, and that really cemented our relationship. And we've done a lot of great work since then.
So you're a little over 10 years into this journey. I'd love to hear where you and Sanmina are going next.
So we're very excited about the journey so far and what's ahead of us. In fact, I'm more excited about what's in front of us than what we've already done. So one of the things we've done more recently, and we're still continuing that, is moving all of our manufacturing to the cloud. And as you can imagine, since manufacturing is the core of our business, that's a huge undertaking. And we have moved all of our factories around the world to the cloud. We're continuing to optimize and improve that set of capabilities. And we really look forward to leveraging and connecting to other cloud services to improve our manufacturing, everything from machine learning to artificial intelligence and analytics and so on. So there's a lot of exciting cloud partners out there that we want to connect to, and connectivity is even easier in the cloud today than it used to be. So the prospects there of moving towards Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing are very exciting. We've also continued to invest and build out applications internally and transition those. So today we're approximately 60% in the cloud for all of our core services. I expect us to be at 80% within the next 2 years or so. So it's been a great journey so far, and it's been great having Pythion as a partner in that journey, and look forward to building on that.
So as you've taken this journey for the last number of years, you're an early adopter, you're leading a very diverse global organization, you're a substantial way through the transformation and making really strong progress towards your goals of 80% fully cloud enabled. There are people watching this right now that are in following in your shoes, that would love to hear what words of advice and wisdom do you have for them as they're embarking on a journey similar to what you've been doing?
Absolutely. And, starting this journey, the digital transformation journey, can be daunting, especially at the early stages on trying to figure out where to start and how to go about doing it. The approach we took was we wanted to focus on some key strategic initiatives and really make significant progress on those to move the company forward. But we also picked out some tactical value-added solutions where we saw some value for the company that was differentiating or gave us a competitive advantage. So we also worked on some of those types of projects, and we understood this was a journey, and it's going to take a long time to really complete that journey. And so we did focus on where we saw business value, where we saw a real opportunity, and that's sort of the approach we've taken. But we've also really focused on making sure we're taking our employees with us. and that's been a big part of our success. I would say that having a great partner or partners is an important part of that journey, because you're going to learn a lot from them. And but if you break it down into smaller pieces, it's not as daunting.
Well, I want to thank you for your time today, Manesh. I think this has been a fantastic conversation that we've had. I want to thank everybody that's watched this, and I hope that everybody has a great rest of Google Next. If you want to find out more information about Pythian, you can check us out at pythian.com/google-cloud-platform. Again, thank you very much, and have a good rest of the show.